I still remember the sound of my wife's last voicemail. Her voice cracked midway. Panic, glass shattering, children screaming, then silence. That silence became the sound of my life. When I told my parents what happened, I expected something. Grief, rage, a tremor in their voices, anything human. But my father only sighed and said, "Today is your brother's birthday. We can't come." And my mother added softly, "Don't ruin the day, please." That's when something inside me broke. Not loudly, not violently, just cleanly, like glass under pressure. They'd always favored my brother, Daniel, the Goldenson. Charismatic, loud, the kind of man people orbit around. I was the quietone, the one who fixed things, stayed late, remembered birthdays no one else did. Even at my wedding, I caught my father slipping Daniel money to keep the family image balanced. He didn't want his precious firstborn feeling left out. But when the accident happened, my wife's car rammed by a drunk truck driver. They treated it like an inconvenience, something to bear scheduled. I buried my family alone. I stood in the rain, lowering the 3 coffins by myself. And when I looked up, I saw noon from home. Not one face that shared my blood. That day, I decided to stop being their son. Grief has a strange rhythm. At first it paralyzes, then it sharpens you. I began to move differently, deliberate, patient, quiet. Every word I spoke after that had purpose. My father ran a real estate company. Daniel handled PR, the public smile. I knew their secrets, the off-book accounts, the fake charities, the under-the-property transfers. I had helped set up their systems years ago. Back then, I believed in building a family legacy. Now I saw it as a weapon. I started small. Emails, anonymous tips to auditors, a whistleblower letter sent to the tax authority written in Daniel's tone from his personal account. It wasn't hard. I knew his passwords, his writing rhythm, the words he overused, synergy, pipeline, alignment. Then I waited. The first spark came 3 months later. Thelical news whispered about possible tax discrepancies at Raymond and Sons Really. Father brushed it off publicly, smiling for cameras. Behind closed doors, he raged at Daniel. I knew because I watched the office CCTV feed. Still had admin access. Daniel started drinking more. My father stopped taking his advice. The empire began to crack slowly, beautifully. 6 months in, I released the real story. A full dossier, evidence of embezzlement, shell companies, forged charity documents. Every transfer trail led to Daniel's name. I made sure of it. I didn't hide behind anonymity this time. I signed it by Michael Raymond, former CFO and surviving father. The headline hit every major paper that morning. Whistleblower exposes Raymond and Sons million-dollar fraud. Investigation underway. My phone exploded with calls. First Daniel, then my mother, then my father. I didn't answer. They weren't calling for me. They were calling for their reputation. Later that night, I went to see them. Their mansion looked smaller now. Father sat on the couch, staring blankly at the TV. The news was replaying footage of police seizing company records. Daniel stood by the bar, hand shaking around a half-empty glass. When they saw me, neither spoke. I walked in quietly, placing a folded newspaper on the table. "I thought you should read it," I said. Father's voice cracked for the first time in years. "What have you done?" I looked at him. The man who raised me on discipline, not love. The man who could skip his daughter-in-law's funeral for cake and candles. "I did what you taught me," I said. "Priorities." His jaw tightened. "You destroyed the family." "No," I whispered. "I buried the family months ago. You just didn't show up." The investigations dragged on for weeks. Daniel was charged with fraud and money laundering. My father's reputation collapsed publicly, though he was too careful to leave a direct trail. Their business, the legacy they built on favoritism and lies, burned from the inside out. And I started over quietly, moved to a smaller city, changed my name. I teach no financial ethics of all things. Students call me Mr. Ellis. They don't know who I was. Sometimes I still hear my wife's voice, that last voicemail playing in the dark. I used to think revenge would silence it. It didn't, but it made sure no one ever ignored it again. A week after the verdict, the final headline broke. Daniel Raymond sentenced to 8 years in prison. Family empire in ruins. That was the headline that sent them into panic. That was the headline they never saw coming. I didn't smile when he read it. I just folded the paper, placed it beside their old family photo, and whispered, "Now we're